The year 1969, a year marked not by earthly events, but by a milestone that echoed in the vast expanse of the cosmos, an event so momentous that its reverberations would forever alter the course of humanity's tryst with the unknown. The United States, a nation that had set its sights beyond our blue planet, accomplished the impossible by landing two of its bravest, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, on the desolate landscapes of the moon. The celestial dance didn't end there. In the next heartbeat of history, the lunar surface played host to 10 more astronauts. Yet, as mysteriously as it all began, the human sojourn ceased. The last human footprint was left on the lunar surface on December 14, 1972, and since then, an eerie silence has settled. One must wonder, with the indomitable spirit of exploration that had guided these successful lunar missions, why have we not ventured there again? What dark secrets or cosmic conspiracies have kept our astronauts from revisiting that silent sentinel? The background of this lunar drama unfolds against a world locked in a fierce Cold War. The U.S. and the Soviets, two colossal giants, sought to display their might not just on Earth but in the theater of the cosmos. The silent space above became an arena of echoing roars as the superpowers strived to outdo each other. Born out of the aftermath of World War II, a race of another kind was afoot, the space race. The underlying tones of this competition were eerily reminiscent of the nuclear arms race that had kept the world on tenterhooks. Rockets soared, satellites orbited, and amidst this cacophony, on a cold October day in 1957, the Soviets stunned the world. Sputnik 1, the first ever artificial satellite, took to the skies. The battle had heated up when Yuri Gagarin was catapulted into the vastness of space in 1961. The very fabric of the United States' pride was shaken, and the need for a grand response became paramount. 1962 saw President John F. Kennedy, amidst rising tensions and an America that seemed to be lagging, passionately appealing to Congress. His vision: landing Americans on the moon. His proclamation was not just for the present, but for future generations. We go into space because whatever mankind must undertake, free men must fully share, he declared. This was more than just exploration. It was a battle for supremacy. Backed by an unprecedented budget, NASA, the vanguard of America's space endeavors, initiated the monumental Apollo program. Within a span of merely 7 years, bolstered by an investment unparalleled in history, the lunar dream was realized. For many, the narrative ends with the Americans outpacing the Soviets, landing on the moon, and declaring the race finished. However, whispers from corridors of power suggest a different tale. In 2019, remarks from the Vice President of the National Space Council hinted at a return, but not until 2028. Why the delay? According to space policy advisor Casey Dreyer, no political agenda has the drive to fund such projects unless they're underpinned by global contention, much like the Cold War. From the first unmanned Apollo mission in 1966 to 12 humans landing on the lunar surface across 6 missions, the narrative is not just about triumphs. It's about mysteries and unsaid tales. This incredible journey, one of NASA's crowning achievements, yielded profound insights into the cosmos. But the silence that followed raises questions that remain, to this day, unanswered. As the astronauts ventured onto the moon's alien terrain, each mission embarked on its unique quest. From the very soil beneath their boots to the vast horizon that met their gaze, mysteries awaited. The cold, gray regolith bore witness to these explorations, with rock samples being meticulously collected, flags marking humanity's presence, and nuclear-powered scientific instruments tirelessly beaming information back to a world millions of miles away. But despite the pivotal footprints left, the lunar landscape has remained untouched by human boots since. The burning question remains: why? Reason 9 could send chills down the bravest of spines. A journey to the moon isn't just stepping into the unknown. It's dicing with death. For those who romanticize taking their loved ones to the moon and back, a stark reality awaits. The moon is no paradise, And contrary to popular jokes, there's certainly no Starbucks awaiting weary astronauts. The Apollo missions, while momentous, were riddled with peril. On the launch pad of Apollo 1, a devastating fire blazed, tragically claiming the lives of 3 brave astronauts. Then came Apollo 13, where an oxygen tank explosion turned a mission of exploration into a desperate battle for survival. Miraculously, against all odds, the astronauts returned safely to Earth. The annals of space history whisper tales of even more close encounters. Before stepping onto the lunar surface as the first man, Neil Armstrong faced death during a lunar landing training exercise. An engine malfunction turned the spaceship into a fireball, and only a timely ejection saved Armstrong from a catastrophic end. Then, during the landing of Apollo 11, it was an unsung hero, U.S. Air Force meteorologist Hank Brown Bradley, who came to the rescue. Using an advanced tech satellite, Bradley detected a looming thunderstorm in the spacecraft's re-entry path. His timely warning ensured Apollo 11 was diverted, ensuring a safe landing. But the moon itself presents its share of dangers. From the enigmatic moon dust, capable of damaging equipment and threatening astronaut health, to the harrowing dark periods lasting 14 days, and the ever-present danger of rogue asteroids. These dangers could understandably give pause to any organization contemplating a return. Yet, the 8th reason is grounded not in the stars, but in the ledgers of accountants. The sheer financial magnitude of lunar missions is staggering. While Kennedy's administration optimistically earmarked $7 billion for the moonshot, the final tab rose to a jaw-dropping $20 billion. To put this into perspective, the Apollo project alone devoured $25.8 billion, equivalent to a colossal $264 billion in today's money. These weren't solitary endeavors. Over 400,000 individuals, 20,000 industrial firms, and countless universities collaborated to make the lunar dream a reality. The financial concerns echoed in the chambers of power. President Richard Nixon openly questioned the wisdom of returning to the moon, especially given the peril and exorbitant costs. Only economic drivers or a fierce competition, in his view, could justify such endeavors. The sentiment was echoed by NASA's former deputy administrator, Lori Garver, who pointed to other ambitious projects, like the International Space Station. Initially envisioned by President Ronald Reagan in the 80s as a space hub with a modest price tag of $8 billion, its cost skyrocketed to over $100 billion by 2010. Cost escalations are expected in ambitious projects, especially as they evolve. Yet, in the case of projects like the ISS, the aim was always efficiency and sustainability. But when it comes to lunar missions, the equation becomes more complex. And as we delve deeper, we find that there are other shadows lurking. Behind the shimmering allure of moonlight lie a plethora of challenges that have caused humanity's absence from its rocky surface for decades. The world of space exploration is not just a domain of possibilities, but also one of hurdles and pitfalls. In the epic quest to make space travel more economical, there's a glaring issue. The Artemis program's SLS rocket is expendable. Unlike the mythological phoenix, it doesn't rise from its ashes. Once spent, it finds its resting place in the watery depths. For every triumphant launch, the ocean floor is littered with more remnants of human ambition. Yet, hope flickers in the eyes of innovators. Enter Elon Musk's SpaceX with its magnum opus, Starship. Not just a rocket, but a symbol of reusability, aimed at creating a more affordable and environmentally conscious paradigm of space travel. While the ambitious Starship has gobbled up $5 billion in investment, it pales in comparison to the mammoth $23 billion that the SLS has devoured. But SpaceX's crown jewel must not only prove its mettle financially, it must demonstrate its architectural prowess for the ambitious Artemis program. With SLS poised on the launch pad, the stakes are astronomical. Success would reinforce American dominance in space technology, while failure would serve as a chilling testament to the risks of space exploration. Lori Garver's insights resonate here. suggesting that setbacks in crucial tests could ripple across the entire program, jeopardizing not just individual missions, but the very essence of space exploration. The seventh impediment is the ever-evolving carousel of national priorities. The world isn't just looking up. It's grappling with terrestrial challenges, climate change, asteroid tracking, alleviating poverty, championing gender equality, peacekeeping endeavors, and the fight against terrorism. One could argue, would the elimination of Osama bin Laden by the Obama administration have transpired had the nation been wholly engrossed with moon landings? The 1973 oil crisis further intensified the need for a paradigm shift, leading to a dwindling focus on moon missions and redirecting energies towards more immediate crises. Subsequently, NASA found its budgetary wings clipped, pushing moon missions into the realm of dreams. An eye-opening report in 2005 disclosed a staggering $104 billion cost estimate, which equates to about $133 billion by 2018 standards, to return to the moon. With such figures, it's clear, theoretical lunar benefits are shelved when faced with pressing terrestrial concerns. And then there's the public. The sixth reason spotlights the fading allure of the moon among the masses. A 2018 Pew survey unveiled a striking revelation. A majority of Americans placed climate-centric research over lunar or Martian missions. While they harbored hopes for the U.S. to remain a space superpower, a mere 13% believed lunar expeditions should be a top priority. This societal reflection was amplified when civil rights activists, led by Ralph Abernathy, converged on the Kennedy Space Center, their protests underscored by powerful messages highlighting socioeconomic disparities. The message was loud and clear. While astronauts were hailed, there were myriad challenges back on Earth demanding attention. This sentiment is further echoed by changing generational aspirations. Once, children dreamt of the stars. Now, the allure of digital stardom as YouTubers eclipses the allure of space. Such a shift in aspirations naturally impacts how governments and policymakers prioritize space endeavors. The fifth constraint arises from the ever-shifting sands of politics. The ebb and flow of administrations and their respective policies play a crucial role in dictating the course of space exploration. As leaders and their priorities evolve, so too does the focus on space missions. The commitment to revisit the moon doesn't merely lie in the vast expanse of space, but in the corridors of power on Earth. A democratic society's very essence lies in the heart of change. It is a tapestry woven with myriad threads, each representing an era, a leadership, an ideology. The United States political landscape has been ever-evolving, with successive administrations leaving their distinct imprints. As with many ambitious undertakings, NASA's visions for space exploration are often caught in the crosshairs of this political dynamism. Each presidential administration arrives with its unique aspirations, ideals, and timelines. Goals are established with an eye on tenure, often focusing on projects with tangible outcomes within a president's term, or at most, an optimistic second term. Long-term endeavors, such as returning to the moon, can be viewed as less immediate and therefore less appealing. They are grand, capital-intensive ventures that often transcend the boundaries of political tenures. Consider the chronicles of the recent past. In 2004, under George W. Bush's aegis, NASA was tasked to ideate a successor to the Space Shuttle. The outcome, the Constellation program. Anchored in the Space Exploration Initiative, this program envisioned lunar landings facilitated by Ares, a rocket, and Orion, a spaceship. Despite a substantial $9 billion investment over half a decade, this blueprint for lunar exploration met its demise in the subsequent era. With Barack Obama at the helm, the Constellation program was eclipsed. Concerns over spiraling costs and significant delays led to its cancellation in 2010. But this wasn't a mere dismissal. It marked a shift in vision. Obama ushered in the SLS, the Space Launch System. This robust rocket was to play a pivotal role in ferrying astronauts not to the moon, but to a near-Earth asteroid as a stepping stone for eventual Mars missions. The Space Launch System, contracted to Boeing, held promise as NASA's inaugural spaceflight vehicle since the iconic Space Shuttle's debut in 1981. Yet, the political pendulum swung again. The Trump administration embraced the SLS, but realigned the stars, so to speak. The focus returned to the Moon and Mars, eschewing asteroid-centric aspirations. Trump's ambitious vision saw the Artemis program fast-tracked, aiming to land astronauts on the Moon by 2024, a revision from the initial target of 2028. The fervor of this renewed lunar focus was evident in his plea to Congress for an additional $1.6 billion for Artemis in 2020. Such drastic fluctuations, however, are not without ramifications. The constant reorientation of NASA's objectives leads to program terminations, substantial financial setbacks, and arguably, a diminishing public and institutional faith. The decades since John F. Kennedy's audacious lunar dream have seen many moonbound missions conceptualized, only to be grounded by political transitions. Yet, hope twinkles in the current epoch. President Joe Biden, it seems, has chosen to tread the path charted by his predecessor. Echoing Trump's commitment to Artemis, Biden's request for a $7.5 billion budget, up from $6.8 billion, and his support for the Space Force, hints at sustained lunar aspirations. However, venturing beyond political realms, the fourth reason brings into focus a very tangible challenge: technological reliability. Since Apollo 17's historic journey, with Eugene Cernan etching his legacy as the last human on the Moon, there lies the looming question: why the hiatus? Are there insurmountable scientific or technological barriers? The sobering reality suggests that aerospace engineering, despite its leaps, grapples with perfection. Risks emerge as seemingly unyielding foes. The Space Launch System, despite its potential, is emblematic of this struggle, with recurring glitches stymieing its triumphant ascension. The odyssey of space exploration is riddled with not just the vastness of the cosmos, but also the intricacies of human innovation and ambition. Embarking on such expeditions, especially to the Moon, is an amalgamation of past learnings, cutting-edge technology, and the acceptance of inherent risks and uncertainties. April 2022 bore witness to one such technological challenge, when NASA endeavored to fuel the rocket and subsequently drain it. The result: a revelation of a malfunctioning valve and a concerning hydrogen leak. The oversight and glitches prompted NASA's Inspector General, Paul Martin, to castigate Boeing, the constructor of the SLS, pointing out lapses in both planning and execution. To contextualize this, one must journey back in time to November 1967. It was then that NASA last initiated the testing of a nascent moon rocket, namely Apollo 4, marking Saturn V's inaugural flight. An insightful report from the 1970s depicted Apollo 4 as a monumental collaboration over 7 years, mobilizing the intellectual and labor contributions of tens of thousands spanning government, industries, and academia. Yet, in juxtaposition, the Space Launch System took even more years to approach its much-anticipated launch. However, technology isn't the sole concern. The Moon, in its celestial glory, beckons with a blend of allure and peril. Many harbor trepidations about its ominous terrains and harsh environment. Is venturing onto this 4.5 billion-year-old satellite truly worth the risk? The Moon's surface is an archaeological spectacle: craters, boulders, and tales of eons past. These irregularities have, historically, posed significant threats to safe lunar landings. Rewind to 1969, before the monumental Apollo landing, where the U.S. Exchequer was emptied by billions to meticulously map the Moon's surface and earmark potential landing sites. There's more: the Moon's environmental factors, a stark reminder of the universe's brutality. Lunar dust, or regolith, a byproduct of ceaseless meteorite impacts and interactions with solar winds, plagued the Apollo missions, curtailing astronauts' sojourn. To envision prolonged stays or even permanent lunar settlements, Overcoming this challenge is imperative. Add to this the moon's extreme diurnal cycle, where it basks in blazing sunlight for 14 days, followed by 14 days of unrelenting darkness, further compounds the challenge. NASA's innovative solutions, like a fusion power system and dust-resistant spacesuits and rovers, are commendable but still necessitate rigorous validation. Amid these concerns, a pertinent query arises: why not deploy robots instead of humans? The answer, poetically encapsulated in the words of Buzz Aldrin, resonates with the essence of human experience. Aldrin reminisced about the unique lunar scent, an olfactory experience that robots simply cannot replicate. Neil Armstrong likened it to wet ashes, whereas for Aldrin, it evoked memories of charred charcoal post a pyrotechnic spectacle. Such profound human experiences underscore the irreplaceable value of human exploration. Speculations, often bordering on the fantastical, suggest the moon as a haven for extraterrestrial beings. Tales of astronauts bringing alien specimens back to Earth, clandestinely stored in high-security labs, further fuel these myths. If these extraterrestrial entities do exist, would humanity truly wish to engage in a cosmic confrontation akin to the narratives of Star Wars? Yet, beyond myths and technology lies another impediment: justification. Many skeptics argue about the tangible benefits of lunar exploration. Is there substantial merit, beyond theoretical gains, to warrant such colossal investments, especially when funded by taxpayers? Such queries loom large, reminding us that the path to the moon is not just about crossing spatial distances, but also overcoming existential quandaries. As we delve deeper into the enigma of lunar exploration, a profound philosophical conundrum emerges. Is the quest to return to the moon governed by a genuine desire to gain knowledge, or is it simply an assertion of our technical prowess? Over decades, space enthusiasts and critics alike have wrestled with the central question: is journeying to the moon genuinely worth the time, effort, and resources? Contrary to the skepticism, some experts ardently believe in the moon's potential to unravel mysteries of the solar system. Given its absence of an atmosphere or flowing water, the moon remains relatively untouched by the ravages of time, such as erosion or weathering. This pristine state offers a unique snapshot of its origins, potentially shedding light on the evolution of the broader solar system. As lunar geologist David Kring opines, the moon is like an untouched vault, capturing the imprints of its primordial beginnings. However, the tragic incident in 2003, where the space shuttle Columbia disintegrated upon re-entry, leading to the heart-wrenching demise of 7 astronauts, cast a long, somber shadow over space exploration. This catastrophe propelled a resurgence of concerns. Is the peril of space travel justifiable? Such incidents force us to reevaluate our aspirations and ambitions. Around that time, President George W. Bush posited that if space voyages encompass such monumental risks, maybe targeting the moon as a landing site would be the most pragmatic approach. Yet the underlying dilemma persists. Is this risk, however calculated, truly worth undertaking? Amid the whirlpool of debates and discussions lies an audacious theory challenging the very foundation of lunar expeditions. Despite the plethora of evidence underscoring the triumphant journey of Apollo 11 to the moon and its subsequent return, a faction, led by individuals like Bill Kaysing, asserts that the entire mission was a well-orchestrated hoax. In his controversial 1976 pamphlet, "We Never Went to the Moon," Kaysing ardently argued against the U.S. technical capabilities to execute such a mission. His assertions carried weight, particularly since he had once been intimately involved with the U.S. space program, even contributing to the design of the Saturn V rocket engines. The proponents of this school of thought emphatically question: if we genuinely lack the competence to craft a spacecraft for lunar journeys, how could we possibly have undertaken or even contemplate future missions? In this intricate tapestry of aspirations, innovations, and skepticism, the international arena further complicates matters. With emerging space superpowers like China steadily fortifying their space programs, the competitive dynamics are shifting. Will China's ambitious endeavors in space ignite a renewed fervor in NASA to not just revisit the moon, but also to pioneer groundbreaking lunar explorations? In summary, our journey to the moon isn't just about rocket propulsion or celestial navigation. It's a journey through our collective beliefs, our will to explore, and our insatiable thirst for knowledge and validation. If you enjoyed delving into the mysteries of lunar exploration with us, do hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating discussions. Together, let's explore the universe.